Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Grumman Pilots YouTube channel. And today we have some member-supplied video. They found an airplane abandoned at an airport. They bought it. They transported it home. They stripped it. They repainted it. They took it back to a hangar, did the final assembly, and now they have a great airplane. So let's enjoy the process. So we would like to ask you please subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the notify to stay current with our content. So here's what the airplane looked like when it was sitting. And this is Andrew Robinson's airplane. They found it up in Connecticut. And here's the process they did. First they find the airplane just sitting out in the field. And they go, I think that's an airplane that we want to own. What do we need to do to go ahead and buy it? Well, the first thing you do is you need to walk around. You need to look at it. You need to contact the owner. You need to work out a deal. Then once you have it purchased, then you can start thinking about what you're going to do with the transport. As you can see, sitting out in the weather has not done it any good. It's covered in algae. It's covered in dirt. It needs a good bath. The birds have probably inhabited a couple of spots. But anyway, this will really test your faith when you see an airplane sitting on the ramp like that, because you go, gosh, I really want it. What do I have to do to buy it? Let's buy it. Let's get it. And now let's get it home. So that's the process you start with. And I'd also like to thank Andrew for all these pictures. He sent me 7 when I started putting them together. Then I asked for some more. But anyway, once you find it and you buy it, then you go through the careful process of taking it apart. And here they are. They've already released the flaps. You can see the flaps hanging down. They're taking off. They've already taken off the rudder and the vertical stabilizer. Now they're working on the horizontal. Again, you want to take your time. You don't want to bend anything, and you want to save all your parts because they are kind of hard parts to come by. And then here's looking straight down at the ground on the side of the airplane as they've taken off the fillet on the side. Now the horizontal's off, the wingtips are off, and at this point the airplane's pretty much taken apart. We've got one more wing to wiggle off, but at this point now we can start putting it on the trailer. And you want to be careful when you load it on a trailer. You want to make sure you have the right size trailer and that it is secured to the trailer, because driving an airplane on the roads is not for the faint of heart. Don't ask me how I know that one. But anyway, you finally get it all loaded up and moved. And then once you transport it, you take it to wherever you're going to go to work on it, whether it's going to be a barn, a shop, a field, or your backyard. It doesn't really matter. As long as you have a clear space to work, then you begin setting it up and getting it parked. Make sure it's secure, and then you can start with, like here, taking blue tape and start marking all the bond lines and things you don't want the stripper to get on, because as a Grumman, we're going to have to strip it. We want to strip it down to bare metal. That way we'll get good adhesion on the primer and the paint that will come down the road when we choose our colors. But again, transporting it home, you get it stripped. It's not going to do a whole lot of damage to your yard if you're using the environmentally safe stripper, and good luck trying to find the old strippers. So here's the stripping process. After everything's stripped, then you can start looking at it and saying, how clean is everything now? Do we have to go in and clean anything? Does rust have to be removed? Do we need to replace some of the hardware? We have to take out birds. We have to take out nesting. There'll be a lot to do once you get it all stripped. But once you get it all stripped, you know you're starting with a clean base. And then finally, make your last stripping. Make sure you have everything nice and clean. You're down to where you want to go. And at this point, now you can begin thinking about primer. Now, before you start shooting primer on all the metal, you're going to want to wash it, rinse it, acid etch it, and allodyne it, and then you can prime it. And here's the primer going on. Again, you're going to be laying tarps out over your yard. You don't want primer paint all over your yard and your grass, but you're going to want to prime all the pieces organized in a fashion. Now, once you have primer on everything, now you can start thinking about putting on your color. And in most cases, most people, when they paint an airplane, they start on the bottom of the airplane with the base color. And in this case, the bottom is going to be white. And they're going with the dark blue or the midnight blue over the top. It'll be your preference of how you want to break up your paint to do it. But again, you start playing on the paint in stripes and on your pattern on your aircraft, and you're going to go through a lot of masking tape. You're going to go through a lot of paper, and you're going to have to wait, in this case, for good weather out of doors. But it is something that you can accomplish, and as you can see here, he's doing a darn good job of it. And then when you're painting, the painting will continue as you start stripping around the windows to seal them, to lay out your colors one above the other. And then when that's all done, you'll be ready to come back and put any accent stripes you want. The trick is when you're painting an airplane is you got to be very careful of where does your overspray go. And in this case, it can go out in the yard, but you want to make sure it doesn't fall into any parts of the airplane that you may have to come back and address later. So take your time. And then after you have your paints on, in this case 2 colors, now you're going to want to come back and separate them with an accent stripe. And in this case, Andrew chose yellow, and he's putting the yellow stripe. So there's nothing wrong with whatever colors you pick, but pick something you're going to like, because you're not going to want to redo this in just a few years. Now, after everything's been painted with the appropriate colors and all the stripes have been put on, now's the point you're going to transport everything back to the airport for the final assembly. And you're probably going to want to do that in a hangar where you have some kind of control over your environment. So again, make sure you have all your steps planned out in advance before you begin the execution. And now that you've done the outside of the airplane, now you really want to turn your attention to the inside. And you can see the difference between the leather interior and the original cloth interior, which was in that 70s blue. We had a lot of those gold and orange airplane interiors running around. But anyway, while you're on this part, take your time, order all your stuff, get it all sewn properly, check it against the other materials, and then you begin the process of putting it inside the airplane. Again, none of this work is really hard. There's nothing complicated about it. You could take it to an upholstery shop, but they don't do anything really complicated. Again, it's something that an owner can do, again, but you just want to take your time and do a good job on it and apply some attention to detail, because once you put this in there, it's going to be in your airplane for quite a while, and then you can decide what to do with your old bits and pieces. You can save them. You can save them for patterns, or you can sell them to somebody who thinks that your interior might look a lot better than theirs. Again, it's all on a personal basis. Well, if you keep plugging away at it and you take making little baby steps every day, eventually one day you'll have it all back together. And here it is, sitting on the ramp with its new paint scheme, getting wet in the rain. But again, you can compare that picture to the one we started with, being in the tall grass, just tied down, being abandoned, to this finished product. It's a lot of work. I'm sure Andrew's very happy with it. Anybody who's ever painted their airplane has been very happy in it and loves telling people about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you found this Cheetah find and restoration useful and informative. Thanks for watching, and have a great day flying your Grumman. So you've met Freckles, our cat supervisor, but here are the new cats destroying the Avery Island Tabasco pepper that sits by her back door. So I thought you'd enjoy watching them destroy something that doesn't belong to you.